Well, good afternoon, good evening, good day to everybody that's joining us with Conspiracy Keepers, our year-end event and show today. I'd like to welcome everybody back. My name is Backlash LaRue. I'm joined by Jackie, Joe, and Scooter. Hi, gang. Happy holidays.
Nice to be back.
It
Hey,
is.
boy, I tell you what, this world just ain't going to slow down. It's not going to slow down for anything. It just keeps barreling ahead with their plans and their scripts, and there's no exception to it.
Yep.
They've got their stuff in high gear. They've got a plan. Part of their plan is to back off. They'll push it, and then they'll back off, and then they'll make us think that maybe we can go back to normal, and then they'll push it again, and say and then they'll back off. Well, maybe we'll get back to normal. No, we're not going back to normal. This is just a game. This is the push-pull game that they're playing with everybody. And then they come up with the new variants and all this kind of stuff. It never ends. If you guys have seen that meme on Facebook where it says this stops when we say no. That's pretty much true. That's pretty much true. As long as people keep complying, keep going along with it, keep going with the program, keep going with the script, they're going to keep pushing and pushing and pushing.
Yeah, well, you have to understand what the end game is. And that's what's important. And that's what people are missing. That's what we need to tell people is that there is an end game.
Right.
They have a plan. We just don't know it. Just like everything that the U.S. government does, they have a plan. They're 100 steps ahead of the rest of us.
Absolutely. And they are just experts in how the human mind works. They're experts in psychology. They've been doing this since back in the Egyptian days.
Mm-hmm.
Their lineages go back that far, and the science goes back that far. So you're exactly right. They're way ahead of us in every aspect of what they're doing right now.
Mm-hmm.
But just to give you a brief synopsis of what they're doing, we've been telling you guys this forever. They've been telling us that they're going to do this forever. They're trying to establish a new world order. We see it on the back of the dollar bill. It says Annuit Ceptus Novus Ordo Seclorum. It's Latin. It means announcing the birth of the new order of the ages. For them to establish their new world order and their new government, they've got to crash the old world order first. So everything you see right now that they're doing is intentional. They're trying to bring down what we know to be the way the world works, and they're trying to bring in their new world order. That's why they're doing all this stuff. That's why they're orchestrating these mass shootings and all these kind of stuff and these viruses and all this kind of stuff. That is intentionally there to collapse the old world order so they can bring in their new plan. It's all scripted. It's been scripted for a long time, and they haven't been shy about telling us that's what they want to do. But everybody doesn't get it. They're still not getting it. I don't get it.
Well, I find it interesting that Colorado has this. What is it about Colorado that there are mass shootings, killings, heinous, hideous, horrible, unsolvable crimes? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
People who are manipulated, the shooting at the movie theater. Do you want to go all the way back to Alan Berg's assassination?
Right.
In 1984 on his driveway. For crying out loud, what is with Colorado? And it's just speeding up. Like you said, speeding up. They're not taking a break for anything. And Colorado is just prime real estate.
Yeah. Yeah, I think Denver is always kind of one of their targets because we are kind of situated on one of the ley lines where they have that magnetic energy ley lines all throughout the world. So Colorado lies on one of them. That's why they wanted to put DIA in a certain spot. It's, when they first built this thing, it was like 40 miles out of nowhere. It's like, why did they pick that spot? There's certain places with their energy grids that they put things on, they do things on, they plan their killings on. So they do with numerology, energy grids.
Mm-hmm.
And, most people aren't really getting it. It's all tied together, but it seems like it's happening organically to the regular person. Just haphazard. It's just another shooting, another nut. No. That's not what this is. This is all a script. These are all Manchurian candidates that have been programmed to do these things at certain times, at certain places. I know you guys remember the DC. Do you remember the DC killings? The DC snipers.
Yeah.
Okay, well, that's a prime example of how they're doing this thing. They wanted a certain pattern set with that particular incident. And if you remember, before they caught these people, the sheriff got on national TV and he said it's very important. Yeah, he says very important that the snipers hear this. The sniper has been caught like a duck in the noose. And we're going, what the heck does that mean? That's a key word for these people who are under mind control, MK Ultra mind control, that their mission is over to turn themselves in. Shortly after he went on national TV and said that, where did we find these two? Asleep in their car on a freeway. That was their trigger word to go and turn themselves in. You're going to be asleep on a certain point at a certain place, and we're going to come and get you at this point. These are all planned, every single one of them. There are very few lone nuts out there that just do stuff. They're all triggered and they're all part of the plan.
For sure, for sure. But I think Colorado specifically, and as you mentioned, the situation of DIA and everything, and the influx of important government agencies to Denver.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if they have to run the United States government from Denver, easy, just flip the switch.
Continuity of government exists. Denver, Colorado
they're ready to go.
Secondary site.
You better believe it. I mean, look at those old maps from the Navy that show the next physical destruction of the continent. You know, from the 40s and 50s. Denver, Colorado is going to be prime waterfront real estate. That, the tip of the front range is going to go off into the water, the water's going to consume it. And then Denver at our height is going to be prime real estate, and the government will never be interrupted.
Right. Oh yeah, that's exactly right. Yeah. This whole thing is scripted, and it's been like that for a long time. Absolutely.
Yep. Scooter was going to talk about some really cool headlines. Do you want to run through a couple of those? Because they're so awesome.
Yes, they are. Yes, they are. Scooter?
All right. Let me preface this with, so we are taping here for December 30th. Joe, I presume this will release on New Year's Eve or perhaps New Year's Day. So Happy New Year, will be or soon to be 2022. And I say that because the headlines I want to share, you'd think are out of The Onion or the Babylon Bee. And I bring up a profound Babylon Bee interview in the last 2 weeks with Elon Musk. So your politics aside and the headlines aside, forgive me. So Backlash, stand by with your Google, because, and I don't know which one to lead with, but the suggestion of 3 stories. Okay, well, we have a band of monkeys, primates, that a situation in India has happened, and we've had other experiments that have gone awry with chimpanzees and simians, where one group of primates learns to do something, and on the other side of the world, they suddenly learn how to do it. And that's documented time and time and time again. But a situation in India happened. So Backlash, just Google monkeys killing dogs, India. It appears that a band of simians were attacked by a dog. The simian population decided to avenge and has practically now gotten rid of all of the puppies in the village. Now they're starting to attack humans. If this is going on here, and suddenly the chimpanzees to weaponize stuff that Fauci says we don't do, oh dear God. That's one. Animal kingdom is that, and just getting done with the Feast of Seven Fishes for Christmas Eve, that the octopus may not even be from this planet and could be extraterrestrial.
And I'm down with that. I really am. I'm happy about that. Makes me so happy. I talked about this on the radio. Those suction cups, I knew they weren't from this earth.
And then the only song that pops into my head is the Beatles song, in an octopus's garden in the shade. I want to be under the sea. That's what started spinning in my mind. And that was the Beatles whacked on dope on LSD in the 60s. And what is the significance of the octopus, if any? And by the way, these are coming from the Daily Mail, from the Guardian, from the Associated Press. And then that's the biggie in the celestial of things that Joe, even you and I in Backlash, long before we ever talked to Jackie, we were talking about the Vatican, the organized religion, and the hidden of an extraterrestrial presence. So now that when we see a story that the Vatican has hired 21 theologians, whether that number is significant or not, Joe, I'll yield to you, but that the 21 theologians are coming together so that we can explore how we can communicate with the people once the aliens get here. Within 24 hours, the Associated Press then put out another release saying that that's not true. NASA didn't hire them.
Hired or not, there's probably hundreds, if not thousands of people working on this very thing. Okay, we got to let this thing out sometime that we've been lying all these years. How are we going to cover it up? How is it going to affect the population?
We used to talk about what are the clergy response teams doing? Yeah. Are they trying to get everybody vaxxed? Are they trying to worry about telling them about the aliens? What page are we on in this book now? As I say that these headlines are, I mean, I say they're from the Mail and the Guardian and the Washington Post and the Associated Press and New York Times, but they sound like they're coming from the Onion or the Babylon Bee.
Yeah, well, I think, that's part of the end game. The alien agenda is part of their end game. They've kind of kept it under wraps for a while. They're slowly now starting to admit that they exist, right? Have you noticed that? But before it's like, oh no, Project Blue Book, nah, it doesn't exist, But they've been prepping us for a long time with these movies, Close Encounters, and a lot of themes out there with movies have to do with aliens. So they're just kind of prepping us, getting us used to the idea of aliens. And eventually they're going to say, yep, they sure are here. And they're your gods. They're the ones that put you here. And they've been coming back and checking on us every 10,000 years or so to make sure when, their seeding is going like they want. That's part of their new world religion. They want to destroy all the other religions that we have now and replace them with your gods are aliens. I'm convinced that's their end game, and that's.
I always thought you said it was Satan.
No, I'm talking about what they're going to tell us. They're going to tell us it's aliens. Aliens, in my mind, are demons. That's all they are. They just rebranded demons and calling them aliens from other worlds. That's my perspective. I'm just telling you what they're going to tell us is these aliens are now your gods. They're the ones that put you here. That's going to be their end game. Because remember, if there's an alien threat, remember even Ronald Reagan talked about that. He says, what would bring the world together more than an alien threat from outer space? If we knew there was a threat, what would bring the world? And that's what they've always wanted, to bring the world together. Okay. So he even gave us a clue that was going to be the one that's going to bring us all together in this one world government, is this alien issue. So yeah,
well, how are they going to work the vaccination into that?
I'm not sure exactly, but I can guarantee they are related. There's no question about that.
Joe, remind Jackie of Star Trek in the original series. I mean, with McCoy. I don't know if she's ever heard your take on that.
Well, if you look at McCoy, he had this little syringe, and he always was giving these vaccinations to do certain things to different people to kind of put them out or put them asleep or whatever. So what's his name? Roddenberry, the creator of Star Trek. Okay, he's a big new ager. He's a big new world order guy. So he was always like throwing those little things in there to get us used to what is going to be coming in the future as well. From his time from the future was his vaccinations. So McCoy always had a little vaccination. We saw in a lot of different shows, from the 60s and 70s. Did you guys ever watch the old Andy Griffith show? When the guy didn't want to be vaccinated, the nurse was going to vaccinate him, and she finally convinced him to be vaccinated. Vaccinations have kind of showed up a lot in the past as they condition us to say, okay, this is a good thing.
He was the farmer out on
He was a farmer. That's right.
Field.
That's right.
I
That's
do remember that one.
Okay, but it's not so subtle now. We see what
No.
they've been programming us to accept this thing, okay?
That's really messed up.
Yeah, it is.
Holy Jesus.
And they're very patient. They will know what the plan is 10, 20, 30 years down the road, and they will prep you for that,
Yeah.
even before that. So these are very patient people,
Well, yeah, they don't, Armand doesn't have a sense of time,
Right.
we made up time. It's not real.
Mhm.
So that kind of leads me into, I was watching these two really wicked ass astrologers, and Braca Goldsmith. If you don't watch her on YouTube, you need to. And then her pal, Pam Gregory, and they once a month do a thing. Well, they were talking about 2022 and all the energies and the planets and all that stuff. And as we know, the billionaires and trillionaires, they watch astrology. They keep track of us, not millionaires, billionaires, right? They're the ones who watch astrology. And that's the same with the cabal. They know the right time with the right energies to strike for the right reasons.
Exactly.
Now, 2022 has an interesting thing happening. And look at, I'm right in front of the camera. And maybe even Backlash can look this up, what happened in 1856. Because the last time Jupiter was in Neptune in Pisces was 1856, and it's going to happen again in 2022. And you know why it takes Neptune like all those years to go around the sun one time? So those energies, because it's so friggin' far away. 1 year is 40 years or whatever on Neptune. So anyway, I thought that was really fascinating what they were saying. If you think about the mid 1850s, there was a lot of mysticism, right? Huge amount of mysticism. People interested in hypnosis and think about what else was present at that time. Drugs.
That's right. Yeah.
Opium,
cocaine, all legal.
Opium and cocaine, yeah.
And laudanum. People, you could just get laudanum over the counter and people are all doped up on that.
Over the counter.
Yep. So that's interesting. What's going to, in 2022, they made the point that if you got a problem with a substance, it's going to be worse in the spring of 2022. So get off whatever you're on. You know what I mean? If you got a problem with a substance. I thought that was really valuable information, but it's not all doom and gloom. They were talking about a lot of energies moving, especially in the spring. Things are going to just like jet forward. And, it's a time for change and change of habits and change of ways to make money, change in the way to perceive yourself. And if we're fast enough, the people who are awake, then we can move towards that new energy and move towards the new earth and all those kinds of things. If you look at it from the metaphysical perspective, we don't have to stay with the people who are going to be highly manipulated faster. It's going to happen faster, the level of manipulation, everything in the spring of 2022. So I thought that was
okay.
Awesome.
So Jackie, just for what she said, look at where we are now. In 3 months, it'll be 2 years. Just get the shot. Then then get the shot, then get the second, then get a booster, then keep wearing the mask. Well, we're going to have to get this. Well, we just don't know because this is going to be with us forever.
Right. It's not going away.
We gave them 2 weeks. You talk about give an inch and take a mile. We gave them 2 weeks. It's now 2 years.
Yeah. Well, they were making the point about the other planets that were, I'm sorry, I don't know, Pluto and whatever. I'm not an astrologer, but they were saying that starting in May of 2022 is when
they're aligning.
But it was a decline. Things were taken away from us, if you think about it. And the cabal, they know that. They know how to use the energies. Okay, this is a good time to launch Omnicron or whatever, moron.
Whether you want to call it the Great Reset or whether you want to call it the fourth turning or whatever it is.
Yep, they know the astrology, you guys. You got to watch astrology, I feel like. Everybody, not you, you three, but people, and we have to watch this because they watch it.
That's right. Astrology and numerology. Those go hand in hand with these people.
Sure. Yep, sure.
Absolutely.
But, it was uplifting, I thought, because the things that they were saying that, we as individuals, this is going to be good energy for the maverick in us, the maverick self. So this is really good for us. And, people are going to be making money in different ways, in the healing arts and in the hypnosis arts and things like that, because of that energy from the 1850s that wasn't present since the 1850s.
So
in
Jackie, just for
2022.
everybody that's watching, what are the astrologers that you're watching on YouTube?
Yeah, Braca Goldsmith. And she's an English lady, but she lives in Greece now. And then her friend still lives in Great Britain, and her name is Pam Gregory. And they are brilliant, I'm telling you. But they're year, just anyway, you're talking about 2022. I think it came out today was the video. But I always watch Braca because she's an astrologer and she's also a channel of the Pleiadians, and she can channel the Pleiadians, and it is hysterical. Oh, we love you, dear ones. We love you, dear ones. You're special, dear ones. Don't forget how special you are, dear ones. This kind of stuff. And it is epic because that's the whole point of this change in human beings is because we're powerful. We are super powerful beings. Right. And, the way that they've been steering us and away from each other and away from the land, away from nature, away from natural medicine, away. So we forget how spiritually powerful we are. I mean, we are unique beings in the universe, people.
Yeah, and we're very powerful together. That's why they don't want us together. That's Correct. Why they go to all these links to separate us. That's why they created the political parties. They want to divide and conquer. That's why they got this 6-foot distance now. Keep us away from each other. Don't hug your family or you might kill them. Don't breathe on anybody. You might kill them. All that nonsense that people are buying into is designed to keep us apart because they do not want us united.
No, they don't. But I really thought that was really neat because those energies are going to be alive and well in 2022, and especially in the spring. It's going to feel like, we sprang off of a trampoline, and stuff is going to rapidly happen. So we have to be ready to break our old habits, to change the way we do things, but they've been saying that for a while, if we have to all live together in one house, instead of everybody having their own house and their own food supply and their own, we're going to have to be flexible and change.
Yeah.
Why are the globalists pushing everyone to eat bugs?
Oh my God. What about okay. So taking the vaccination. So I watched a couple of different lectures from Bobby Kennedy lately. And the book is like this thick, people. Right. So I've been reading like Dr. Mercola and other people's summary of the book about, fuckface Fauci, faggot Fauci, what do you want to call him?
That's very appropriate. As a matter of fact, that's a great name. I'm going to use that one.
Sorry, I'm so naughty. Why'd you make me do it? You guys made me do it.
We made you do that.
You did. Well, you guys are staring at me. And anyways, I had to come out with something to break the silence. But anyways, Bobby Kennedy's been trying these cases over his entire career as a Democrat, against regulatory offenses, because as we know, FDA, all of them, NIH, all of them break the rules on purpose. And you have to go in there and bust them out of what they're doing. Otherwise, they'll do exactly what they want. Right. And so him in writing this book goes over exactly how these agencies are captured and with what money. So that's a really good summary. Yeah, if you want to go to Children's Health Defense, that's his website. I mean, he doesn't make money from the book. I'm going to buy the book. It's $32, but he doesn't make the money. It goes into the fund that fights some of this stuff.
So Cheryl doesn't get a nickel?
No, Cheryl doesn't get a nickel. But anyways, he talks about how the EPA is captured by the coal, oil, chemical, and industrial ag industries. And think about that very statement. What in our lives isn't touched by those? Coal, oil, chemical, and industrial agriculture. Industrial agriculture poisoning the food in the air. You know what I mean? Chemical companies are making the stuff that they spray on us like we're a bunch of bugs.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? The oil industry, keep those cars, going and change the price of the fuel and, just add to the incredible inflation we're going to have in 2022. Right. Incredible inflation. And then he talks about the FDA getting 45% of their budget, of course, from the pharmaceutical companies.
Of course.
Why isn't that you can't talk to the average human being and say, don't you think this is a conflict of interest?
I know.
Fauci has a stake in these things.
Absolutely he does. Absolutely.
And he's on TV every night like he's a demigod.
Right.
Up there saying, you've got to get another one. You've got to get another one. I mean, if you think about this conflicts of interest at this level, like AT&T was a monopoly, right?
Mhm.
They had to break that thing up.
Yeah.
You
And
got to
our
break
phone
these
bill-
things up.
And our phone bills are more expensive after deregulation than with regulation, and what was the AT&T monopoly. And the same argument out at storage. Okay, here. Hey, Backlash, here's another flashback. Remember when we used to be able to run the world on a Palm Pilot and a Motorola StarTech and a beeper? Okay. Here, you know what?
I'm kind of glad that you're a bit of a hoarder. These things are fun.
It does come in. It comes in handy at times. Yeah.
This is going to replace your laptop.
Yeah.
Here, there's another $500. The Motorola StarTech was $1,000. The first iPhone was $1,000. How much is the iPhone 13? I rest my case.
Yeah,
Right.
It just keeps getting worse and worse. But I mean, if we think about all those patents, I just can't understand why
business card.
we can't talk to our friends. I can't. I'm like, can't you see that this is a conflict of interest?
Exactly.
And they say, but he's acting in our interest.
Yeah, I know.
He cares about us.
And Jackie,
I
bring
know.
up the comment.
I know.
Jackie, you say that he comes on like a demagogue. No, the media, which is funded by Big Pharma, made him the demagogue.
And the government. He's
Well,
been,
yeah.
just 6 presidents or something.
Right. Exactly.
I mean, who do you think he has pictures of? Come on.
And just think of how we are so being manipulated with propaganda. Has anybody ever seen anybody with any qualifications come on and tell the other side and say, this might be a dangerous vaccine? Has anybody ever seen one person that has been hurt by this vaccine and say, wow, I've got palsy because of this? No, not a single one ever. That should tell people right there that this is a big propaganda machine, because you will never hear the other side. You will never hear any other doctor come on and contradict him ever. And you definitely won't hear Kerry Mullis, who created the test and called Dr. Fauci a liar. You will never see him anyplace. But if they were trying to get you the truth, if they were really out for that, you'd see him all over the place.
Yeah.
And all these big pharma, all these Pfizer, they sponsor a lot of these television shows. They make billions, and yet they have no liability for anybody who gets hurt. And nobody questions this. I'm at my wit's end with people, I tell you.
I am too. It's so frustrating. It's so frustrating.
It absolutely is. That people can't see. Oh, and not only that, but the CDC is not even a government agency. They're a private agency, and they talk about a conflict of interest. They have interest in over 56 different vaccines. So they make money from all this stuff. All these people are making money.
Yeah.
They don't care about you. They don't care about your health. This is not about that.
Yeah.
The CDC is no more a governmental institution than the Federal Reserve is.
No, absolutely. And the NIH, they hold thousands of patents, as he was saying. And the CDC spends $5 billion per year buying and selling vaccines. Buying and selling.
Yeah, that's right. Right.
And they're a government organization. Come on, people. That's the CDC. You keep seeing this guy from the NIH and the CDC. Come on.
I know. And
their employees, all their big budget and all that stuff. We have to remember those employees are not paid to find mistakes in the vaccine.
Mm-hmm. Right.
They are paid to say yes, yes.
That's right. Yep.
And to advance that purpose. That's what they're paid for. That's how they get a promotion.
Mm-hmm. And like you were saying, it's to me, it's just so apparent and it's so obvious. It's just, I don't know why more people aren't asking these questions. They just go along with it. They're just like in a hypnotic trance, which I believe that they are. I believe that this is kind of a spell. This is kind of black magic, because all these people that are into the occult are in high places, so they know how to manipulate people's mind. They know how to do this. And they've been doing it for a long time.
Mm-hmm. And I think that's one of the things we need to consider going forward is the esoteric reasons that they're doing this. Mm-hmm. From everything, all the seers, mystics and all that stuff, people who see what's going on with the vaccine, push, what they're seeing is that this causes a void, like the stuff that's in it Once it's put into you, then it cancels out something within you.
Right.
It makes you less powerful.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay.
I
Takes
I
away
think
some of
so.
your energy.
Yeah, I think you're exactly right about that.
And why do they want that to take away
Yeah.
some of your energy? So they can put something else in there.
That's right. That's right. Yeah. Yeah. And I hate to say it, but it's working. Their plan is working.
Yeah.
They're getting away with it.
Well, I feel bad because the company that I work for part-time, they had a big push to have everyone vaccinated. You got to get vaccinated. I mean, it's the policy or you're going to get fired, right?
Yeah.
And I don't know how I got away with it, but I said, I'm not a first, I told them I'm not doing that, and I think that people need to say why they don't want it. Instead of, I want a religious exemption or I want a medical exemption, just say, I don't want to.
Yeah. Right.
I mean, why do I have to tell my employer what my medical history is?
Exactly. That's exactly right.
That's illegal right there.
It is illegal. Yeah. It violates the HIPAA laws. It violates the Nuremberg codes, which they put in place so the governments can no longer force medical procedures on people. It's a war crime.
It is a war crime.
Basically, is what it is.
Well, it's funny, Joe, because they did that whole thing, and Dan bought over it. The fact that this company, it's the same company, parent company, and he said, I don't think you should be firing people. And he goes, I don't care if you fire me, but I don't think you should be firing people because they say don't want to. Well, now a new email comes out and says that they're going to provide free vaccinations for everyone,
right,
to keep everyone safe. But what if you don't believe that?
Yes,
Joe?
exactly.
Why aren't we allowed to have an opinion on how we feel about ourselves?
Right.
Like, and make a decision for ourselves and our family without then being separate from everyone else. That is the true crime, I think. Us and them.
Yeah. And if you think about it, we are not allowed to question our government. We're not allowed to say, you know what? I know what you're saying is that this vaccine is supposed to keep us safe. We're not allowed to say, I don't believe you. I don't believe we're in danger. I don't believe this keeps us safe. It obviously doesn't. People get whatever they're getting in spite of being vaccinated. So obviously it doesn't work. But we are not allowed to question our government, which that's not science. If it was true science, you would be allowed to have a conversation about it. Does this work? Is this going to work in the long run? It's no. It's propaganda when you are not allowed to question. You are just supposed to accept what they tell you. And heaven forbid you say, no, I don't believe our government. I believe our government is lying to us. You're not allowed to say that.
I don't know why we're not allowed to have our own opinions. Why are we the only one? You know what? And we the only ones. People are waking up by the second, to this situation.
I think that they are. Yeah, I'm seeing a little bit more of it myself. Yeah, I think that you're right. They are.
I have a friend who's a writer, anyway, and she had she doesn't work. She works at home. Like I do. I work at home. Anyways, and she had the vaccination. I don't know which brand. Isn't that weird that we know the brand of a medicine?
I know.
Jacked up. But anyway, she was sick for 3 months, like with one various thing after another. And then when she finally started to feel better, she said, I know what made me sick.
Yeah. As a matter of fact.
Anybody says to her booster, she's like, I'm not contagious. I'm not, I have no symptoms. No, thank you. So I think people who have gotten one jab and then they wake up, they regret it. That's why I'm not an early adapter, man. The whole thing happened way too fast for me. Anyway,
I was going to try to find another friend of mine, and I don't see her email in my. She's from Australia, and she had emailed me, and I can't find it right now. So I'm just going to paraphrase what she said. Anyway, she's from Australia, and she was a believer in the shot and in the jab. And then she started having problems with her heart. And she even put on there, she says, is anybody else that has taken the jab, anybody else having problems with their heart like I am? She says, I've been into the hospital 3 times in the last 10 days because I'm having these problems with my heart. She says, anybody else? And I wrote her back, I says, there's a lot of people. You're just not hearing about it. But I'm starting to know people personally that are saying, I'm really having heart conditions now after taking this jab. So
that's why we got to still speak out. I mean, I as I told you the first time we talked, I'm a mouthpiece, my whole career. That's what I do, is talk to people. And I don't want to stop doing that, but I have to tell the truth about how I feel about things instead of, I can't go on and lie. I just can't do it. What happened to Scooter and Backlash, man?
I'm still here. My head's just reeling from everything.
Oh, sorry, honey.
As it usually
I'm still
does.
here. My tripod died when I went to grab a cigar.
Oh,
My tripod snapped.
Well, we've
So,
got
go ahead.
about 10 minutes, and I think we'll next week I'm available for a couple of days or a couple
Okay.
of episodes. I'm wide open on that.
Okay.
But since this is literally December 30th of 2021, it is time, as we usually do, and we haven't done it for a number of years, but we are bringing it back this year. It is time for the Deadpool.
Oh my goodness.
Okay.
So if you want to give one or two, and well, if we each two, we can come up with a good $12 or whatever. Usual bet, Randolph?
Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay.
All right.
Betty White.
You want to go first? I know the last time we talked, you said somebody who's turning 100, but
we
Well,
got
she's still got
17 days for that.
Yeah, that's right. So, I mean, the clock is ticking on Betty White. That's an obvious given. However, Pope Francis.
Okay. Yeah, I can see that.
Why do you think that? And he'll be murdered?
That won't be the first one we popped.
Yeah.
But the Pope, his health has been in question for some time. The Catholic Church is fragmented, allowing Ratzinger to continue, that being Pope Benedict. And
The guy living in the outhouse in the back? Yeah.
Yeah, and we don't talk about that story, the pedophiles and the banking scandal and all that. We just, at least old Yeller, we know what they did with him. In the case of Pope Benedict, he's just out back.
He's living in the mansion out back. Yeah.
And here's why. The agenda. When Pope John Paul II died, and Backlash and Joe, you got to back me up on this. I said the next Pope was going to be black. He was going to come from either South Africa or South America, because the Vatican has to put a new face on the Catholic Church because of all of the scandals that were coming out in the 80s and 90s and before Y2K. So having said that, they went through the mythology, and I forget the prophecy of Saint Malachi, or Malachi, however you pronounce it, in that the final pope was going to come, the false prophet was going to come out of the house of Benedict. And then what? So why in the hell would the Vatican knowingly name Cardinal Ratzinger, who was a former Nazi, why would they give him the name Benedict? So that was suspicious. But his removal, then I said, well, here it comes, here it comes, here it comes. What? You gave us another old white guy? Look, I'm not promoting the old white guy thing. It's just, it's getting old. And the Catholic Church needs new energy and money into it, because they have fleeced every Anglo-Saxon on this planet. We're done giving them a nickel. So when this Pope does go, I don't know how in the world of the outcry. See, because the Catholic Church is trying to be woke. Well, and they can't give a transgendered, we can't have one of those as Pope. Well, then it will be racial. Because it can't be a female, and it can't be the Catholic Church accepting homosexuality or transgender or any of that. So it has to be a Hispanic or other person of color, African American or Hispanic, because the Asians, by demographic, not as a racist statement, are not Catholic predominantly.
Okay, I'll buy that.
And so this will be my third attempt to say the next Pope is going to be not what the people are used to. Well, I've been wrong twice before.
Okay, so you're thinking Pope Francis, huh? On the Deadpool?
Francis and Betty White.
Betty White.
Yeah, but she's out of spite. That's just the easy one. That's what I'm saying. No,
still
Betty White. We want Betty White to live 150 years long after everybody else is gone. Which is sad, because how much she loved Alan Ludden. It's so sad that you know, they passed and she never remarried, and that is what it is. But you know, she's beloved by everybody. Who doesn't love Betty White?
Yeah, I hear you. I hear you. Okay.
So
And I grew up with her, of course, as a happy homemaker.
or
What's
two?
that? Say it again.
I was saying, does Jackie have a name or two?
Oh, go ahead. Okay.
Who's the white-haired guy who plays in all the movies with his white mustache? Western guy.
Sam
Let's
Elliott.
see.
Sam Elliott. Sorry,
Oh.
Sam Elliott. I love you,
Oh.
Sam Elliott, but I don't know why.
Okay. Yeah, I can see that.
Anybody else?
What about Biden?
Well, that's what I was going to bring up.
Okay.
Because I think we had a little bit of predictive programming in this by Gerald Ford years ago when he was asked what it would take to get a female president. He says, well, it would take a female being a vice president and the president dying in office. And we see right now kind of a senile old man that can't get through the day and find his own dinner plate. And I'm thinking, you know what? Did
It's
Gerald
not
Ford
going
kind
to
of
be
know
Kamala
something?
Harris.
Did
What?
Gerald Ford know something? Was that?
Mm.
Was he telling us
Yes.
something way back then?
Yes,
He may not
because
be.
he knew the backstory behind Spiro
Yes.
Agnew.
Well, he did. They all know. They're all in the same club. They all belong to the same secret societies. So they're all in the know. Yeah. So I'm thinking, if they wanted to plan it, this would be the perfect time. You've got a senile old man in office and a female ready to take over.
However,
So-
Kamala Harris is going to be dismissed by the Democratic Party as ineffective. She may be removed. I still believe one of the key operatives in the White House right now is Susan Rice, along with Hillary Clinton, because the new name being bashed about, Hillary, of course, read her "If I Had One" speech crying, and she says that she'd like to make another run for president. No, it's Michelle Obama is going to be the phoenix rising from the ashes of the Democratic Party right now, not the progressive side. AOC is going to make a
qualified.
run.
How is she qualified to be the president?
I
Yeah.
didn't discuss
and-
qualifications. I discussed how are they going to do this.
Ah,
Yeah, I was going to
Then
say.
Joe goes bye-bye and Michelle Obama's now president. So it's either going to be Susan Rice or Michelle Obama replaces Kamala. She's just not getting the job anywhere near done. And by the way, we all agreed forever that the vice president's job is to show up at funerals. That's it.
Well,
You're a dignitary.
I think that's the perception, but I think in reality, the vice president has more control than the president. I believe that George Bush Sr. was actually the president when Reagan was actually the president. I believe Dick Cheney was actually Cheney was actually the president for George W. So I think the vice president has more power than we think that he does. They just want us the perception that he's no.
Well, then our president is more retarded than we think.
Hey,
well, I don't think it's the vice president that has that much power,
That's the
Joe.
easy one.
It's just that they're in the CIA. They were CIA.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. So they were put in that position for a reason. Exactly.
Yeah, I don't think Kamala Harris has any. She doesn't know anything.
No. They're all puppets. No, I see what you're saying. Yeah, they're all puppets. But what I'm saying is that the function that they serve for the people that are putting them there and the role that they're serving. Yeah. Well, wow.
anybody else got any? I've got two.
Okay.
Okay, backlash.
Two. We are talking presidents. I'm going to say it's going to be Jimmy Carter.
Oh well. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And Scooter, you mentioned Betty White's husband on Password. I've got another game show host that I think is going to go, and it's time for Bob Barker to come on down.
Oh yeah.
I thought he was dead already.
Yeah. Isn't Bob Barker already dead?
I don't believe so.
If
If he is, then I won. No, I think he's like 90, 95.
Yeah.
I think you
he's still
better
kicking.
check that. Okay, if you think so. I
That-
thought he died too.
Yeah, I think he's still kicking, but I'm not sure about that. Yeah, you might want to check that.
Bob
Let's see.
Barker.
Born December 12th, 1923. There is
Wow.
Yeah, he turned 98 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, I'll buy that. Yeah, I see that. I see that
Do you
happening.
have
Yeah,
any,
gosh.
the old ones are easy to guess. Is there anyone on the youth? Do we have to sacrifice Brittany in 2022, or is there anybody young on the radar that could go?
Interesting question.
I'm sure there will be one who is not meeting their contract with the
Right.
with the devil. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Exactly. Like Prince. I mean, we
Yeah.
could have seen Prince coming, that death I think we should have seen coming because that was written all over the place. So yeah,
Mhm.
somebody like that. Yeah.
I'm
How
thinking.
horrible. God help
I
me for
know.
predicting these things. Please, God.
Yeah, yeah. It's all in fun. It's only for money. It's not a big deal.
Oh, exactly. This isn't for spite. This is just for money. It's not the personal.
If you want to go way out on a limb, we can just go, okay, Scooter.
No, wait a minute. Wait a minute.
We'll find him crushed to death under the pile of all his stuff.
I told him to haul everything out of that storage unit and just have it hauled off.
Yeah, right.
I'm working on it.
It's actually said in fun, Scooter. But hey, we've got to wrap it up, and
All right, guys.
I'll get in touch with you guys on next week.
Okay.
Okay.
But thank everybody for joining us one more time for the December 30th, 2021 year-end special. I hope everybody here on the panel has a great New Year's. Be safe.
You too.
And
All right, guys.
we will talk to you all soon.
Sounds good.
Sounds good.
All right.
All about Kilboreans.